Rural Heritage on RFD TV is brought to you by Rural Heritage Magazine, a bi-monthly magazine featuring articles about farming and logging with draft animal power, small-scale diversified family farming and homesteading, and other aspects of our rich rural heritage. Rural Heritage Magazine, borrowing from yesterday to do the work of today. For subscription information, please call 319-362-3027 or order online at www.ruralheritage.com. Hi, I'm Joe Mishka. Welcome to another episode of Rural Heritage TV. This week we finish our visit to the Barn Museum in Marcus, Iowa, where Junior Pearson has been showing us his vast collection of horse-drawn equipment. Today we'll see some of the carriages, sleighs, and other vehicles he has on display before finishing the tour with some more of his farm machinery.
This is just some of my buggies. This is a good, nice, tight building and keeps everybody clean. Some are original. These two are redone. This is my very first buggy. It's a John Deere Reliance. And these here two sleighs come from over your country up there, Crown Point.
Okay.
Bought them there and I restored them, and they've never been used. Happened. This here I built in '94. I had a Vis and I didn't like riding backwards, so I made this. And
You built this?
I built that one, yeah. And this one here I restored. This one was really nice shape when I started. I didn't have to do a lot, but I had to repaint it, put new fenders on and stuff. But it was a nice piece.
You don't sit around watching TV much, do you?
Well, sometimes in wintertime I make this little stuff. It takes longer to make that little harness than it does a big one, I can tell you that.
Wow.
I got a cousin that has the garden or the florist shop here in town. I made that for her. And we used to have a dairy in town and had that. And you remember Earl Britton from Lamar's?
Yeah.
Well, he's my mentor. He made these here items.
Oh yeah, okay.
In that wagon.
Yep.
And he wanted to sell me his stuff, and I said, God, I don't want to get into that. So he finally priced it to me pretty reasonable. I just bought it, helped him out, and then I started doing it. And of course, my suppliers now, they quit, so I'm harder to find the parts. But I built the stud cart and this here wagon here.
You built the hitch wagon?
Hitch wagon. I built a wagonette in the corner.
So did you show them? Or
No.
You just built it to have it?
Well, we had shows here in town, antique shows and stuff.
Okay.
And I had an appraiser too, but.
But you didn't show in hitch classes?
No,
Yeah.
And I built a mail wagon. And this wagonette here is my favorite, I guess. I got married on this.
No kidding.
Yeah, and over here in the horse arena.
Nice.
It holds about 6 people.
Right.
Oh, that thing rides like a Cadillac, and you turn right around your tracks. And no, it's pretty neat.
It sure is. Yeah, you do good.
I had lanterns on it one time, and
right. I see that. Yeah.
then I bought old Festus there over at Waverly one year, and I put him on there just for display.
Sure, that works good.
Our local people here in town, they used to be, Frank Benedict used to run the route, and his granddaughter, his son, no, it was his daughter showed me these pictures of him.
Oh yeah, right.
And give me the literature on this stuff. So I built it kind of like his.
Nice. Little sled running gear.
Yeah, it's for winter use.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. For this.
That go right on here. Take the
Okay.
wheels off, put them on there.
Nice.
This hearse, we built that back in 2000. It's all made out of native walnut. A friend of mine down at Pearson, he had sold hardwood, and I bought my wood from him, and I said in there, I said, I'd like to make a hearse. He said, boy, I want to get involved in that deal. So he and I put this together.
It's a lot of walnut.
It's all native.
Yeah, that's nice wood.
Yeah, I did the undercarriage and he did the up here, and it turned out pretty decent.
Well, it sure did. I mean, you made it to use it.
Well, it's been used 4 times,
Okay.
but I don't take it out here anymore. I don't even take it out for my own funeral now, but
Yep.
the weather's never cooperating when a funeral is.
Yeah,
It's rainy or something and
yeah.
snowing, I don't do that.
But I mean, you didn't make it just for show, that's for sure. You made it to use it.
Well, it's wider for the longer and wider for the longer caps, you know, and
It's got the stabilizing ribs on it. And
yeah, slide them in there, and
yeah, that's nice.
I had to take all this stuff to Arizona and have it brass plated because I couldn't find nobody in the Midwest to do it. And I was down there one year. I took all them pieces with me, and they plated them down there. Yeah, the last funeral I did, a guy had a collection of little Oliver tractors, and he had a real small one, and we pulled a hearse with that tractor.
That would look a little funny, probably.
Oh, yeah.
But he would have appreciated it.
Yeah. That,
A couple of hose carts, one here and one back there.
yeah, these come from Waverly, both of them. I was standing by it, and nobody was bidding on it, so I got it. So it ain't really horse-drawn, but
Right,
it's in good shape.
yeah, but it's for that era.
That come out of Waverly, come out of Youngstown, New York.
Huh.
That's all original.
Yep.
The curtains fold down, but they shrunk a little. I can't get them snapped in anymore.
Okay, sure.
And I don't want to play with it because you
Right.
can bust that stuff up then.
Right.
But it's a pretty neat piece.
It is. Yeah, it really
Just
is.
the way the pin stripped everything in the old days.
Yep.
We did a parade with that, and then I had it in the antique class over there. It's so noisy, you can't hardly stand it because it creaks, you know.
Yeah, right.
And with the steel wheels going down the street and it rumbles,
Right.
I said, this thing's going to a museum, it ain't going to come out again.
Right. If you enjoy seeing how our ancestors lived during America's rule yesterday, you're going to love looking at these books. Volume 1 is Fieldwork, showing horses and vintage tractors preparing seedbeds, planting, cultivating, and harvesting the crop. Volume 2 shows the work being done in the barn and farmyard, feeding and watering the livestock, getting the crop into the barn, milking the cows, shearing the sheep, and collecting the eggs. In Volume 3, we go inside the home to see the family in the kitchen canning vegetables, in the parlor listening to the radio, and in the dining room for family supper. We also head into town to shop at the general store or visit on the town square on Saturday night. Each book has over 140 large format pages. They sell for $24.95 each, or you can buy 2 for $44.95, or all 3 for $54.95 plus shipping. Call 1-877-647-2452 to order. That's 1-877-647-2452.
This I found just 3 miles west of town here. It's a ear corn crusher.
So you throw the corn in here?
Yep, no, yeah, I go in there, you see a big roller in there,
Yeah,
big crushers.
yeah.
This ain't horse powered, but it was an era of it. I think these were made in Iowa too, if I remember right. Independence, Bloom Company.
Huh. Never seen that.
But it was only a couple miles out of town here, and I thought, boy, we better keep that around Iowa.
Right.
There's an original John Deere disc over there. That's the color they were. Do you know, Joe, in 1926, John Deere and IH changed colors?
I didn't know that. I think I've heard that before, but I wouldn't have remembered it.
Well, here's proof of it. See, that's the red. This here is a roller I picked up down in southern Missouri. That thing weighs probably 700, 800 pounds. It's out of a tree. They cut it down with a lay.
Wow.
Did you know back Marcus, Iowa made hay loaders?
No.
the hay come up, and they had a conveyor up here, went back and forth to level your load.
Wow. I've never seen that before.
They were made in 1912 here in town, and down where the lumberyard sits now. And I've tried to find something about a Wixel in somebody's grove or something around here. Can't find nothing.
It's quite a framework that they got going on there.
The blueprint for that is laying over here in the Historic Society building. And he's got it all, it's this big and it's under glass, you know.
Yeah.
It's really something to look at.
Yeah.
All that mechanism.
Right. That's something else.
But yeah, it was made in 1912.
Basically taking the place of one guy with a pitchfork.
Oh, yeah.
Getting tired. And you still would have to fool with it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
still have to push it to the corner.
Oh, yeah. And it's kind of cumbersome to hook up, you know, all
Right.
that. But
Right.
this friend of mine donated this from Yankton, and I had to go through underneath. It was all rotted out in there. But when I cleaned the grease off here, it was all green underneath.
Yeah. What year was that? 23, you say? That's when they switched
26, I believe, somewhere in there.
colors? When they switched colors?
Yeah. About 1925, I guess, it says here. I can always remember all my figures.
Right. Well, there's a lot to remember.
Yeah. This here wagon, Joe, is the only wagon I know of that was painted red from the factory. And it was made by Moline. It's called the Grain Belt wagon. And here's the literature I found on it. The original colors on them. And you can see there's red here.
Yeah.
It's,
It is a lively color to paint it.
yeah.
They're almost all green. They're dark green too, usually.
Well, most of them
guess-
are green.
I guess, I mean, they look dark green now. Maybe they
Well,
were brighter green back then.
Just about every one I know is green,
Yeah.
except for this one.
Yeah.
This here's original Marseilles Cyclone.
That is a great piece.
Didn't have to do nothing to that.
Wow.
Found out down by Norfolk, Nebraska.
That is marvelous. I had no idea you had this much stuff, Junior. Do I call you Junior? Is that your?
Yeah, that's what I go by.
Okay.
My dad had my name all my life, and I can't change now.
I got you.
But
That is a terrific piece. Yeah, I had no idea you had this much stuff.
you know, I can't figure out how I had time to do all this.
Well, I can't either.
It's
amazing.
you know,
I mean, not just
I farmed for up till 7 years ago. How in the
Right.
hell did I do all this?
the collecting and then the restoring, but also you built stuff from scratch. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Hi, I'm Joe Mishka of Rural Heritage Magazine. I'm on location of one of the many events we cover that celebrates our rural heritage. If you enjoy our show, check out our magazine, where you'll learn more about the people that blend the past with what works today. You can save almost 20% off the newsstand price by subscribing at ruralheritage.com or chat with us at 877-647-2452. That's toll-free, 877-647-2452.
I am open by appointment only. I can't sit here every day waiting for somebody to show up, but when they come, I will give a guided tour, and if I do a guided tour anymore, I'm going to have to charge a little bit more because you'll learn a lot more by having a guided tour than walking around. We've had tours from 2 to 3 hours long because people ask questions. And when they're on their own, they don't realize some of the history some of this stuff has. This here item here, this is really something here. I found this out in South Dakota. This is what it looked like when I bought it. It was in a patch of weeds.
Yeah, right.
I brought it home. It was in this condition in 30 days.
You didn't get much sleep,
You know, when you get on a project and you're into it,
I guess.
that's what I did on this one. Everything worked so nice when I was doing it. And there was nothing froze on it. It was all the gears were loose. And underneath the grease, red paint.
Wow. Yeah, and you get started on our project, you're better off getting it done while you still remember where everything goes.
Well, yeah, it was in really sad shape. Well, you can see here how bad it was. Weeds were growing up around it.
Yeah.
And all the pieces were here.
Yeah.
I had just find them in the dust.
Right.
But
Figure out where they go.
that's all the pattern I had. It just, but I had enough to get the idea of it, you know.
Right.
But yeah, it was fun. We're getting closer. I'm glad I took these pictures because it's hard to tell people what it looked like to start with.
Right, right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to picture.
Thresher there, that come out of Minnesota. An Amish guy started restoring it and quit, and it's not quite exactly the way it's supposed to be, but I finished it off the way it was, and it ain't too bad a hunk.
No.
These here are the number 9, the 99, and the 999 down there, and then up there's the one horse, 299. And I'm looking for a John Deere wooden one, but they're pretty hard to find. I had found one. I was trying to get it bought, and somebody stole it. It was hanging in a building
Holy
on the
cow.
rafters. And he went in to look at it, and it was gone. And when I saw it, it'd take at least 3 to 4 to get it down.
Right, right.
But somebody swiped it.
Yeah. Wow. Those are all 4 of those are planters.
Yeah, that's all planters up above there. And the plates, different plates.
Yeah.
Actually, them 2 hand planters here, the plates up here go in here.
No kidding.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out which one it is.
Them little ones.
Yeah.
Like that little one.
The little plates there.
Yeah.
When I bought this here, all I bought was that. And I didn't know what the rest looked like. And a friend of mine sent me this. He found it in this magazine, the Farm Implement News from 1889. And there's a picture of it right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I rebuilt it to that. Well, then I found out here's his planter, which is that one right there. But George, he's the one that invented the planter and the way they made. John Deere didn't. This is where I found this stuff.
Oh.
All over. Another thing, my grandma sold out in, I think it was in 39, but here's her actual sale, what she got, and it only amounted to $2,866. And the highest priced item was a B John Deere with a 2-row cultivator. It brought about $600.
Boy, that's
The rest of it's all $1, $2, $10.
That is precious.
And this little grinder here, I guess I didn't show you this. This thing has never ground anything.
Really?
Look at the teeth on there.
Right.
Look at the gears.
Right.
That's never been used.
Right. The paint is still on.
This come out of southern Missouri.
Huh.
It's got a power shaft on it also. You can, if you want to run,
yeah, right.
you want to run another implement.
Very cool. Yeah, that's very cool.
But to find one never been used,
Right, that's amazing.
is amazing.
It really is. Well, that about does it for our visit with Junior Pearson at the Barn Museum. The museum is open to the public, but by appointment only. It's worth the trip to Marcus, Iowa. This program is available for purchase. To order your copy, please call 319-362-3027 or visit www.ruralheritage.com. Rural Heritage is a bi-monthly magazine dedicated to draft animal farming and logging, as well as other aspects of our rich rural heritage. It is published by Mishka Press, which also offers a complete line of Back to the Land books, DVDs, and calendars. Call or write for a catalog or subscription information, or visit our website at www.ruralheritage.com.